So it looks like everyone's working away very well, but I will disturb you just for a short while to cover to have a quick talk about preparing for consults before we do our consults in Wednesday's class. So I just had a look at the schedule out there. There's no other classes booked in here during that lunch period, so you guys can keep you've got this room now until 4 o'clock or so you can keep working away at things. What I'll do, come 12 o'clock, I'll take a bit of a break, a bit of lunch, etc., and do all that. You guys can use your time as you wish, but I'll stop back past here after lunch. If you guys wanting to work on things at all, and people are still here and you've got some questions, yeah, come hang out, ask some questions, things like that. If you're going well and you're moving on well then I'll head back to my office and do a bit of work from there. But we'll see how that goes. But I'm definitely still available or on call from the staff room there for the rest of the day. So another 2 minutes. Right. So what you've been working on, we've done task 1, working on task 2 at the moment, and this is all it's in preparation for the whole of the project basically, but you've got to do all that before you sit down with your client. What you want to do is you want to convey to your client that you're very capable, very responsible, and you know a lot of information about that property already. They want to feel that they're being well looked after and that they're getting the best possible service from you. So on Wednesday we're going through task 3, client consult. Now these are meant to be 10-minute consults. Look, if they stretch out to 12 minutes or something, that's fine. And also for this first time around, what I'll end up doing is we'll go through the consult and then afterwards probably have a bit of a chat about this is what you could or could not do with that in the process of that consult. Give you a bit of feedback straight away to think about that. Because with project 1, definitely it's I'll say it's very much formative learning. But we have the outlines of what's required for your consultations here. Be aware that they're not all the same. So your list of things for client consult is going to be different than your list of things for building designer consult and different than council consult. But what I've also tried to do is tailor these a little bit to make them project specific as well. So over the break I did a bit of modification to these to chop out a few things that weren't so relevant. So beware that for project 1 and project 2 they differ slightly. So you've got your list for each, and check your list for each before you do the consult. Don't just rock up to the consult. Secondly, in discussion about that list, the list covers everything that absolutely has to be discussed in the consult. So what you want to do is keep bringing the discussion back to your list of things that need to be covered. You always have to be considerate of your client. Basically, you're providing a service to them. If they feel there's a need to discuss anything, don't cut them off and say, "Oh no, but I have to do this in my list in 10 minutes." Right? They are your client, and remember that. So if your client needs to express something, let them express it. But the name of the game is finishing up that consult with the sense that you've gathered all the information that you need and that you've heard everything that your client needs to tell you. So you've got your list of what has to be covered. So yeah, so that's your list there. So first one, prior to consultation, students shall undertake the brief analysis and desktop research. I'm pretty confident everybody's going to be there. So don't have an issue with that. Students shall prepare all their questions and points of clarification required from client prior to consultation. So this is where the work actually, well, it's a chunk of the work. It's not all the work. A chunk of the work happens before the consultation. You get yourself prepared. And Look, and I haven't done a lot of consultations. Done a few, and it's always the way that I have to have a list of what I'm going to cover, because I can get quite chatty, get off the topic a lot, and I have to make sure that, and I have to keep referring back to my list. Okay, yes, I've covered that, and that. So please prepare a list. Even print this off. Bring this in. So student is to meet with the client at designated time and location. So I'll designate those time and locations in the class. I'll say, hey, here's a quiet space. We'll do client consults there. That's all. Students shall introduce themselves and explain who, what role they are undertaking in completion of client's drawings. So in this scenario, you're a drafter, and you're a drafter working for a building designer, and your role is to do the drawings, but also liaise with the building designer and the council. So you're basically doing pretty much all the work with the building designer, but that's your role, is to do the drawings, assess compliance, get this through council by meeting with both the client, building designer, and the council. Commence with discussion of brief provided by client, clarifying, summarising all aspects to be taken into consideration. So you have that. So you start that conversation with the client, saying, "This is the brief that's been supplied to me. This is what we're doing. Is there anything more I need to know? Is that correct? Have I got the correct brief?" So you do clarifying and summarising all aspects to be taken into consideration. Clarifying all aspects that are ambiguous in nature in design or materials. So some things that might be ambiguous are: do you want to be doing landscaping with this? Are we contracting for that? Are we planning for that? Are we putting that in our council submission? Other things might be: do you want a carport with this? Yeah. So clarify aspects requested in brief from client that are non-compliant and their options. So this project is really simple. I'll make it easy for you. There's not a great deal which is non-compliant. So that's it. That's quite simple. But if you find anything that's at odds with what the client wants and what the development plan says, then identify that with the client. Discuss possible consequences for submitting drawing to council with non-compliant aspects. So your client has to be educated and informed of the process of if they want to build a 3 metre high pink fence, that they're going to have difficulty in getting that through. Or you discuss that with the client. Say, obviously our best approach is if it's category 1 and it sails through council really easy. There's no neighbourhood consultation. You can have a fair bit of certainty in your approval. That's best case scenario. Second bit, etc. So explain that to the council. Clarify products to be used in construction. So that's expressed in the client brief or in that procedure document. You've got your list of what that building is going to be made of. But you might want to clarify other things, like it says extend the deck 3 by 3 metres. You might want to discuss what sort of materials they want to use for the deck, for example. Then discuss energy efficiency, sustainability aspects that would benefit this design. I've meant to be going through passive design a little bit today as well, aren't I? Sorry about that. So we'll see. So discuss energy efficiency, sustainability aspects that would benefit the design. Okay, we'll have a quick discussion about that as well after I run through all this. Ensure use of appropriate industry language and terminology throughout consultation and on drawings reports presented to client to support your discussion with legislation and codes reference. Look, that's just about you using correct terms. And I'm fairly sure that all of you won't struggle with that, but if people do struggle with that, I'll help you out. Ensure design drawings, site dimensions, setbacks, structural overall heights, window heights, etc., and other graphical information is interpreted and discussed. So you want to have either that procedure document or some information about the build there to be able to discuss those. And then at conclusion of consultation, ensure student reflects, summarises aspects gained from the consultation with the client. Student is to provide record of conversation to client within 1 week. So your client is going to say, okay, well, it's been great meeting with you. Could you provide me with a bit of a summary of today's discussion, so we have that written record and we know that we're both on the same page. So you're going to have to make sure you go through this list and check off all of those things, but then also be recording or keep a record of everything that's been discussed. I take a video of it and I can supply you with a video. Typically I do that once I've done all the consultations, because if I'm doing it it just takes too long. But I put them all onto a USB stick and I let students grab their videos if you're going to be typing it up yourself at home. But there have also been plenty of students that keep a bit of a record as they're going through. Write it down.
Notes are actually not a bad suggestion, because the bottom line is that they actually directly address, they don't have conversation in them, they directly address, you know. So for instance, ensure site designs, whether you've got an agenda or a meeting format of some sort, you know, you've got, let's just check these off, and you talk with your client, you just go, okay, so these are the aspects that you've checked off and you want that to be like that, blah, 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 confirmed, anything that's actually variance. No, actually, I'd really like to bring those windows down a bit, you know, or whatever. Those are the things that you're going to be writing down.
Yes.
So it's a gap analysis rather than, if you do notes, you're doing a gap analysis. If you're watching a video, you're just going to have to sit there.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yep. So everyone understands what Elizabeth was talking about there. It's about making notes. Well, if you're going through it, writing notes as you're going through, you're doing that gap analysis. You're working out what is actually pertinent to be recorded, and supplied. But it's a 10-minute consultation as well, anyhow. So if you end up wanting to go, oh no, what did we discuss there? And I supply with a video, you can do that. But anyhow, you'll have to supply those to me. So that's what you do into the submission for that client consult. So supply that, and it says supply within 1 week. Yeah, get it to me nice and quickly so I can get these things all marked off, and you're pushing ahead. The rest I'll leave you to read yourselves.
Well, we basically just have to come up with what questions we're going to ask to cover all those points.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So you have to make sure you cover all those points. Have a think about how you're going to ask those questions, but there's also going to be a bit of fly by the seat of your pants in that consultation as well. Always happens.
And what happens if there's a question we don't know the answer to in the client? Can I say, we'll get back to you on that? Or?
Excellent. Yes, that's exactly what you should be doing. If the client says, am I allowed to do this within this zone, or does the NCC allow this thing to happen? And you say, I don't know. You say, I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
And you make a note.
And actually, that's a really, yes, make a note of it. But that's really important, that what you don't do is say that you know something and then you don't. You say, yes, that's not a problem. The council will approve that, no worries. And then find out the council won't approve that, no worries. So what you want to do is you want to say, I'll find out. So you don't want to give certainty where there is no certainty.
It's one of those things where, I've been throughout that there was something in a workplace that I had that I had never done before, because of the complexity of what I was doing and the commercial implications, they actually did it. And I had said to those people, look, it can be done, but it's never been done. Now, I expectation managed it very badly, because really I actually didn't assess the risk. I assessed the risk as below negligible. And it's like, always manage your risk. I mean, we managed to dig our way out of it, but at the same time I would have preferred not to have the pain. I wish I had given them a different message.
Yeah.
You know, I wish I had given them the message of, well, you know, it can be done, and if there are commercial considerations, they will do it. But it's very rare. It is rare, but there may be commercial aspects. So if I'd given that message rather than look, it's never been done, so don't worry about it, it would have been a lot better message to give. Is always the conservative message, always that these things can happen. I don't expect that they will, but if it does, we will have a conversation with council that, you know, we'll make sure that we'll get as close as possible to what we want. Never will get what we want, as close as possible. Yeah.
Yep. Get your caveats in.
Pardon?
Get your caveats
in really fast.
So that's our client consultation. What? Yeah. Look, we're at time now. Look, I'll keep you just. Actually, what I'll do is I'll pause this. Well, I'll